The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome back to Chit Chatting with Jocelyn. This is part 2, and my guest is still Sean Morrison. He is a former state rep. He is a public safety provider in New Hampshire. He is also former military. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We are compadres because mine is a military family. We are also a blue family. I am a 911, so I'm in the 911 family. And what did I forget? Military, police, EMS, and a patriot.
Patriotic American, that's what I was
now
going to
the
say.
Fourth, yeah. So totally on the same page, understanding all the little nuances that are going on that we can't always share. But in this half, so in the first half, we were talking about schools, and I happened to find this little meme, and you know me and my memes, I love them because there's always truth in them. You can all laugh at them, but there's truth in them. Stop calling them public schools. They aren't open to the public. They aren't accountable to the public. They are run by the government. Mm-hmm. They are regulated by the government. They are funded by the government. That's not true. They're funded by you and me. 85 cents on every dollar. They are compelled by the government. They are government schools.
I might have shared that a couple times.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
I love that. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm at 9,000 memes and pictures. Because they tend to disappear. You know how fake book there loves to shut everybody down, steal everything.
Did it to me.
Yep, I did live with Mike Pence, like him or not. I did snippets because I know if you go too long, that's too long, and they get rid of it. So I did snippets of him, and within 1 second of posting, 1 second, this page has repeatedly shared false information. All my trolls say that I tell false information. I have it all, if it's from the CDC, from VAERS, if it's from, the government, it's from the Constitution, I have a copy of it. So that's not true. But yeah, posts shared by Jocelyn include false information that was checked by independent fact checkers. I have another word for them. That went against our community standards. What are your community standards? This is the former Vice President of the United States speaking his mind.
It's a rigged socialist system.
So what's false? I'm entitled to my opinion. Yeah. You're entitled to my opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe me. But it doesn't make it false. It doesn't make it, not right.
Mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. So let's talk about voter integrity, because it led to people starting to show up to a lot more meetings, show up to the executive council, so we'll lead into you-know-what. Mm-hmm. So voter integrity. I'm one of the first people that went and got the tally tapes from the Dominion AccuVote machines in Amherst. I have them.
Really?
I do.
Save them.
Oh, they are with 2 lawyers, 1 senator, and Marilyn Todd.
Well, hopefully it'll work out anymore. Once we get the judicial branch back.
Yeah, well, break up the bar, which is illegal and unconstitutional.
Who runs that in New Hampshire?
I don't know.
The New Hampshire Bar Association. I hear it's a Shaheen, Gene Shaheen monopoly. That's what I heard. I don't know.
The person we have to talk to is Daniel Richard.
Good man.
You know him.
I do.
Yeah, yep. Very good friends.
Met him a couple times.
Yeah. We need to utilize that man and his brilliant brain. But I got those tapes and I looked at them and I was not expecting anything. And the date on one of them says October 27th. The other ones say November 3rd.
How's that work?
It's
just, again.
The clock was broken.
Yeah.
Then why didn't you fix it?
What it was? Oh, okay.
So I look at it and I just very simply, I wrote down people in the races And the first and second column added up to exactly the third column for the Democrats. And for the Republicans, the third and the second column did not add up to the first column. It was half.
Half? Shocking. Sounds like Wyndham.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
Very similar. So
like
that
Wyndham.
prompted all of us to go get them in Maryland. And, a patriot with a good heart, working a very difficult job that, essentially 95% of the politicians say there's no voter fraud. That the GOP miraculously last week started a voter integrity committee.
Isn't that amazing?
Something about they had a lawsuit so they couldn't. I'm sorry. Cheating and fraud is cheating and fraud.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's a joke. It's a joke. I mean, it goes back to the five corners in New York. Vote early, vote often. We've always known it's been around. But when you don't have laws, it doesn't matter, right? When we don't abide by the laws, Maricopa County, the largest county in Arizona, just refuses to participate in the audit, and nobody gets arrested. So when you don't have laws that are enforced, it's a joke. But New Hampshire's law, that the Democrats said was voter suppression. I was a state rep at the time, and they were trying to change it. And what the law was at that time was you can show up in a thong and say your name is Maurice McSocialist, and you want to vote for the first time. No ID, nothing, right? Okay, sure. They take a photo of you. You go ahead and vote.
They count your vote.
They count your vote. Huge.
It goes in the machine.
Huge. They count your vote. They'll send you a voter registration verification card to the address that you used. Maybe it was your professor's, maybe it was your Democrat cousins, whatever. They send it there, and all you have to do is have whoever's address you used, have them sign it and send it back, and you're good to go. Now, if you don't do that, they'll give you another 30 days. I think it was 30 or 60. So you have well over 90 days to send back another, verification form saying, yes, that you live there and you're legit. And then if you don't do that in the 90 days, they take your name off the voting roll, but your vote counted. I had, in Epping, we had Bill Gardner, for a meeting with the Epping Republican Committee, and he flat out said that there was, I think it was 5,313 votes.
Yep, that's the year that Kelly Ayotte lost.
Right, by 1,014 votes, lost. I'm not glad she lost, but I wouldn't.
Wait a minute, did we just hear that number a minute ago?
Yeah.
They didn't remove them from the voter rolls, did they?
Over a year later, they were still not verified. First-time voter registrations, over 5,000, still not verified. And then there was another lump that I can't recall what that group was, but, what I just stated to you was the law for voting. And it sounds to me, in my cat, or anybody with an IQ over 70, to be the weakest voting law
ever known
that I've ever heard of. And the Democrat Party said that was voter suppression.
Well, the one year that I helped with same-day registration, people would come up with a passport. I thought it had to be like a license for the state to show that you live here. And, of course, I know when you know that the state constitution, New Hampshire Constitution, that's not how it reads, but we won't go into that today. And they didn't show up with a bill showing their property address. And here's your passport. Well, I don't know where you're saying you live here.
That must have been a town thing, because some towns do have the ability to, and I believe Epping does, require an ID anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, if that doesn't have the address of where you're claiming you live,
exactly.
where's the mortgage?
Right.
Give me something that has your name and that address on it. I was told to shut up.
Well, again, if we think about it, explain to me how we have a Republican governor, a Republican executive council, a Republican Senate, and a Republican House on the state level, but an all Democrat socialist contingent at the federal level.
Yeah.
Is it maybe because the college students wouldn't vote for the locals?
Again, isn't it?
Yeah. 0 for 10 for the NHGOP. 0 for 10 for the NHGOP. Again, people need to see what's actually going on. You have, back to the Senate race, you have an absolute war hero, 10 deployments to Afghanistan, commanded landmass 2.5 times the size of America, budgets of $250 million. When he negotiated for the lives of the people underneath him.
Correct.
He saved the president of Afghanistan during a convoy, and then he went into Kabul, I think it was, and set up the defense for them there. This guy, right, is being buried by the swamp, but the question is why?
Why?
Why are they doing that? Bingo. There was a statement made, I was told, a statement made by one of the leaders at the New Hampshire GOP, the 0 for 10 NHGOP, that they would rather have Maggie Hassan in there than have Don Bolduc because they can't control him. Now that is, regardless of your politics, if you've got the swamp working against them, that's somebody you really should look at, you know? But I find it amazing. They're so open about it, you know?
Yep. What's amazing is every meeting I've been to, and Don's been there, they have not said his name.
Amazing.
Not once. The same goes for Karen Testerman, who is declared.
True.
Both of them have been declared for a year.
Right.
And have been, this is both their second time for running. They are almost never invited, and if it is, it's last minute. Their names are never said. I mean, the last time, Chris Sununu's, well, he's not running for Senate. Oh, God bless him. We're so glad he's going to be running for governor.
Right.
With Karen Testerman.
Right.
Declared. He's not declared.
That's true.
Don Bolduc is declared.
Right. And I think we all understand, if you've watched politics for 6 months, that it's a swamp, right? And
both sides. We're just happening to hear about
swamp games are played. But when you play the swamp to the tune of a 0 for 10 record, and you flat out disrespect an American hero in the process, you need to be called out. You need to be replaced, is what you need to do. Absolutely. And again, regardless of General Bolduc or any other candidate, 0 for 10. Your games don't work. You have failed. That's a loss. You failed.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, we could talk about other stories too. So the voter integrity got the people of New Hampshire, got their juices flowing, got their blood glow. We patriots are like, yeah, it's our time. Finally, Constitution, rule of law, right is right. Stop with the cheating and the lying, the hypocrisy. We love our veterans. First half of the show, go back and watch it. So we had 9 people arrested.
Yes.
Couple months back.
A nurse who was also a foster mother and a friend of mine. I met her through when I passed foster care legislation.
People that I had gone to the first 2 attempts to go to the meeting, and they closed the meetings down. There was too many of us.
Right.
Well, we're not us. We're the taxpayers. We're the citizens. We're the voters. We count. We should be in on all of this.
Anybody find it weird that they, number one, didn't publicize where the third meeting was going to be because he thought he had the votes? I might have known. Okay, I won't go there.
Well, to the general public.
Exactly. It got publicized, but not by them. And they moved it to the police academy. And then they had triple staffing for police.
So they had that was the only one I didn't go to, but I had media there and 2 friends there that were videotaping everything, plus the 9 people, and everybody, all of us that had gone to the other 2 meetings. They had a dividing curtain. Yeah. So we, only this many people.
In the back.
Yeah. So they had 80 plus state troopers for the 200 people. Why? They had another 40, 50 behind the curtain, and then outside they had the paddy wagons with the sheriffs. And oh, by the way, sheriffs, you work for us, not them.
Sununu called them leftist agitators, I think it was, that none of them were Republicans. They're all registered Republicans. It certainly appears, we're going to find out in court, but it certainly appears that Chris Sununu was typing on his cell phone and looking at state troopers. Certainly appears that he ordered those arrests, and Therese was sitting there silently.
Oh, I know.
Right? They got scolded at the beginning of the meeting for saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Because they said the Pledge of Allegiance with too much enthusiasm.
And said amen.
And said amen.
Right?
Did you notice he didn't stand up for that?
I didn't notice that. Was that a real photo? I saw a photo of that. Did he really not stand up for that?
I don't know.
So it's live free, too. Isn't that live free, Chris, not live free or die?
Right. So, with enthusiasm, with gusto,
Gestapo.
they sat through, an hour of blah, 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 blah. And then they got down to it. And in every video that I've seen.
Right. Yeah. And texting.
And I'm exaggerating, but you can see that.
And understand, this is a nurse, right? This is the nurse that nobody in the Republican Party stood up to defend her job.
Nope.
Or any other healthcare workers. Nobody in New Hampshire stood up to defend the National Guard soldiers that lost their careers, that served in Iraq and Afghanistan with me, that lost their careers over a vaccine mandate, which is against the Nuremberg Code. The very first phrase, it's flat out, my 12-year-old.
And mandate is not law, let's be clear. Rule,
correct,
regulation, feelings,
right,
mandates, woman dates are not law.
For a vaccine,
I don't want to offend anybody.
You're right.
So there's mandates and woman dates.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. Well, you got 74 more subcategories there.
So those are not laws.
Right, but
Never will be, but everybody's running around. And every time you don't say something, you're complying. You're allowing them to own you. And when you don't comply, you make it worse on everybody else. And we are now looking at unbelievable violations of the Nuremberg Code.
Unbelievable. For a vaccine that everybody states is less than 50% effective after 6 months. Tell me it's not about money.
Well, the hypocrisy and lies. It started off that if you get the jab, that you will not get C-19.
Right.
If you get the jab, you don't have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 lies right there.
Oh,
now the new one is, 6 to 9 months. It's kind of less effective. So there's lie number 3, hypocrisy and lies.
Keep the money train going.
Yeah. But here's the thing, what concerns me, and again, personal choice, you're all about personal choice. This is a choice of epic proportions.
Yeah, this is HIPAA.
You can't have personal choice for one thing and no personal choice for another. Personal choice is personal choice.
Agreed. And even worse, what about your children, right? CDC statistics, as of 3 weeks ago when I looked it up, still, per the CDC, the omniscient CDC, more kids ages 0 to 17 died from the flu in the 2018 flu season than have died from COVID ever since the beginning of it, since the release of it by China.
There's no need for the children. I understand seniors and I understand people with comorbidities. That's your choice. That's absolutely fine.
I encourage
That's none
that.
of my business.
If you're in a high-risk category,
yeah,
I
and you
encourage
talk
it.
with your doctor. But here's the thing: if you've had it,
where are the studies on that? Why won't they test for the antibodies? Why are they spending all their money on COVID tests that will pop positive for the flu?
What they're now $23 at your pharmacy
at Walgreens, right? But they'll pop positive. It says it right on the instructions.
Yep.
For other viruses and bacterial infections.
So it's not trustworthy.
Where can we get an antibody test to see? Because it's well known.
And apparently there's 2 kinds. There's antibodies. There's 2 kinds of antibodies tests, and I can't remember what they are. One is just if you've had it, and the other is whether your antibodies
would defeat it.
Yeah, have lasted, or there's a second one. They're doing it out west. My family's out there.
Multiple studies do show, though, that natural immunity does better than.
Well, they've all admitted it always has been for decades and decades and decades.
And now the VAERS is fake news. It's funded by the CDC and the FDA and always has been.
And the WHO.
And it's always been looked at as gospel. But now that we have more injuries and deaths reported through VAERS by doctors, among others, more injuries and deaths than all other vaccines given over the last 10 years combined.
Yep.
Now it's fake news. I mean,
the other thing is VAERS, and they tell you right on the site that only 2% of the injured are reporting.
Yep.
So imagine only 2%. So let's multiply those numbers. Go home, look it up, go to the CDC website, and multiply that by 98%.
When 90% of the news is about COVID, don't you think that it should have been reported that a 15-year-old was reported in VAERS as having died 6 days after the vaccine? Why wasn't that on the news at all?
I don't know. I think that was buried. Wasn't that really close to home?
Yeah, from my understanding. I don't know, but 15-year-old.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. So the 9 people are arrested.
Yeah. Gestapo.
They literally did nothing. Everybody was just pissed off because we were all so vocal the 2 meetings before and have been all along.
I should say that I've been at Right to Work major public hearings, and there was way more activity on the Right to Work hearings than any boisterous protests by those 9 people.
Absolutely.
Anyone can see that.
And they had their hearing 2 weeks back. The bail was not amended.
Right.
Oh, but we can have felons and rapists and murderers released. Oh, people that, set Christmas trees on fire and at Rockefeller Center are set free within hours. We've got illegal aliens and, again, murderers and sex traffickers and rapists coming across the border who are released within hours. But, and they have no bail.
Right.
But these nine, and where are the signatures? Sorry, guys in blue. I'm blue family, but sorry, where are the signatures?
Yeah. I agree. They were caught in a tough spot. You know, but
and who do you work for?
They know what
Who did you
happened.
sign your oath to?
They know what happened. And I back the blue 1,000%. I work with them very closely.
So did
shall
I
we
for
say.
20-something years, and I'm
Exactly.
married to one.
Exactly.
So,
Come on.
but I'm going to call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Yep.
And the same goes for the sheriffs.
I agree. Apparently, they have a lot more power that they're not using than.
They refuse to use and they've acquiesced
And they
to
acknowledge.
the left side, and you have more power than anybody.
Politics.
Yeah. So this whole thing was about we the people, we the taxpayer, we the citizens, collectively, both sides, did not want the $27 million from the federal government to flow into our state because there would be strings attached. Right. They would be able to tell us, we the people, what we could and couldn't do. So this is what our pushback was all about. Mm-hmm. No, we don't need it. You already got COVID money. You got CARES Act money. You got money up the wazoo. You're not signing my life away and how much I have to earn and take more taxes and my kids and my grandkids. And I always say me because I'm sick and tired, I'm sorry, about the kids and the grandkids. I've worked my whole life.
Yeah, you're an American.
I paid a boatload of taxes, so I would like to have my remaining years, whatever they are.
Mm-hmm. Couple things about that. The important thing being that we all need to understand that over 30% of the New Hampshire state budget is federal dollars, okay?
Correct.
So we've been sold out to Washington, D.C. a long time ago. That's not even on Chris Sununu.
Correct.
A long time ago we were sold. So we are owned. The language was plainly stated, any future mandates in there. And there was a lot more money than the $27 million attached to that, right? Is the story that I heard, because 30% of our budget. And I'm convinced that a lot of this extra money doesn't have to be put in and counted on the budget, which is why, in my opinion, Chris Sununu broke the law, openly arresting peaceful citizens, but
people with First Amendment rights that were very specific about this decision that the Executive Council did listen to us, although you never emptied your emails, your texts, and your fax machines, which you're supposed to. So that's a little ploy that you guys need to stop. Otherwise, you're going to find stuff on your desk. We're going to deliver it in giant boxes. They reversed the decision. They made the decision for the people, for the taxpayers, that they would not take the money. And that afternoon, they reversed the decision and acquiesced under pressure and took the money. And then had the audacity to say, but you know what? If there's any strings and they make some laws and mandates we don't like, we'll send it back.
Right.
It was already spent.
It was definitely already spent because the next day it rolled out. But I did see that they did put in that contract that there will be no mandates. So I think, regardless, I'm not sure about taking that specific money, but I think the fact that they put in to that contract, there will be no there will be no mandates from the federal government. We will not abide by them. I think that was a good job.
Yeah.
And it was going to pass anyways because Chris Sununu, not only did he arrest, in my opinion, well, it's not in my opinion, he arrested 9 innocent people. Not only did he do that, he buried his longtime friend who has been the chairman of finance and has been in Concord, Ken Weiler, for 31 years. So that money was so important to Chris Sununu that he buried his own friend using under the guise, he teamed up with the Democrats, right? Ken Weiler sent out a 55-page thing. I think he understands it was a little mistake. He didn't read all 55 pages, but a 55-page report to everybody on his committee stating actual injuries and deaths from the vaccine because he wanted them to know about it. Well, I think on page 55 it said some off-the-wall things, and I don't think he caught it. Matter of fact, I know he didn't catch it. Chris Sununu knew that. They've been friends for a long time. Chris Sununu outed him publicly and buried him in a heartbeat, and that's the swamp that we need to. That's what we're up against. You know,
There's not enough bleach.
But
you know what? But you know what? We're going to make sure there's enough bleach. And that's both sides. Again, Democrat, Republican, we're Americans. And if you're an American, you're a patriot. If you're an American, you follow the Constitution. If you're an American, you follow law. You don't go with the socialist, communist, leftist, and extreme rightist, bizarro stuff. We follow the Constitution.
The first rule of war, divide and conquer. That's what the Democrat Party has used with blacks, Asians, transgender, gays, you name it, right? If that was the case, if they weren't using that first rule of war to divide and conquer everybody, they would have been happy that Donald Trump set the all-time low unemployment rates for blacks, black teens, Latinos, Asians, and females. But they didn't care about that because it's more important to divide us so they can control us.
So they can control us.
That's where we're at now.
And make unbelievable. Yeah, people can riot and steal $950 worth of looting
in Democrat states.
But God forbid we should deposit or take out $600 because that's now going to go to the Federal Reserve, which, oh, by the way, is private.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not part of the government.
The more you
Neither
look,
is
the more
IRS.
disgusted you get. I don't think people are turned off by politics, right? And they should be because it's disgusting. I saw that in 3 short years.
But look at what's happened.
But it's not politics.
Right.
When your kid's getting asked your pronoun and you're paying 85 cents of every tax dollar and you're paying $4 a gallon for gas, that ain't politics. That's your life. When you lose your job and you lose your career as a soldier, right, a patriot, when you've done more for America than 99% of Americans and you lose your job over a mandate that violates the Nuremberg Code, that's not politics. That's freedom.
It is.
And we don't have any freedom right now.
No, we don't. Well, this has been a little bit of a depressing show, but we
I was going to tell more jokes, you know.
Yeah, we have to do. You definitely have to come back. We need to know. So you're running for school board in Epping.
I am.
So you need to look for Sean Morrison. Tell all your friends. Check him out. And you also are starting a new podcast. So where can people find you?
Well, for now, it'll be on YouTube and Telegram and sometimes on Fraudbook or Facebook. But it's Mouthie from Southie in NH. And I'll be doing news updates, Saturday Night Lifestyle. Maurice McSocialist will be giving those news updates.
I love
We'll have
that.
guests, and then we're going to end it with some karaoke at the end, maybe, every once in a while. You know?
Oh, that's pretty cool. I know
Should be
you know
fun.
my friend Stiletto.
I do.
Yes, you do. So I'm going to be doing her show tonight. So I will
cool.
say hello.
Please
we
do.
I don't think I can say it on this show, but we have a Naughty Telegram channel, and we do some of the things that people are saying out in public, and we call them on it, and so it's lots of
Imagine
fun.
we're not free enough to even say that.
I know that we're shut down, that
We're children.
yeah. It's scary. So if you find somebody and something you want to follow, share, because Facebook and YouTube and the rest of them are not generous and not allowing us our First Amendment rights. So, you know, share. This is a free country. We are a democratic republic. We are not a democracy. We are a democratic republic, and you must understand that. You must know these words. Show up at your school board meetings. They are absolutely taking away the kids' rights and the parents' right, and we pay the bills because we own that. I will see you next time, same channel. This is Chit Chatting with Jocelyn. Have a fabulous week.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.